Welcome to Section 4, AWS Global Infrastructure. The AWS Cloud Infrastructure is built around regions. AWS has 22 regions worldwide. An AWS region is a physical geographic location. Each region contains 2 or more availability zones. Availability zones consist of 1 or more data centers. AWS regions are connected to multiple internet service providers, which are also known as ISPs. Regions are also connected to a private global network backbone. It provides lower cost and more consistent cross-region network latency compared to the public internet. AWS regions introduced before March 20th, 2019 are enabled by default. Regions introduced after March 20th, 2019, such as Asia Pacific, Hong Kong, and Middle East Bahrain, are disabled by default. You need to enable these regions before you can use them. You can use the AWS Management Console to enable or disable a region. Some regions, such as AWS China, have restricted access. Another example is the isolated AWS GovCloud US region. It's designed to allow U.S. federal government agencies and customers to move sensitive workloads into the cloud by addressing their specific regulatory and compliance requirements. To achieve fault tolerance and stability, regions are isolated from each other. Resources in one region are not automatically replicated to other regions. When you store data in a specific region, it is not replicated outside that region by default. It's your responsibility to replicate data across regions if your business needs require it. AWS provides information about the country and, where applicable, the state where each region resides. You're responsible for selecting the region where you should store data based on your requirements for compliance and network latency. AWS products and services are available by region, so you might not see all the available regions for a given service. Each AWS region consists of 2 or more isolated locations that are known as availability zones. Each availability zone has 1 or more data centers. Some availability zones have as many as 6 data centers. However, no data center can be a part of 2 availability zones. Each availability zone is designed as an independent failure zone. This means that availability zones are physically separated within a typical metropolitan region. They're also located in lower risk floodplains. The specific kind of flood zone category varies by region. Each availability zone has an individual, uninterruptible power supply and on-site backup generation facilities. Each availability zone is fed through different electrical grids from independent utilities to further reduce single points of failure. Availability zones are all redundantly connected to multiple Tier 1 transit providers. An availability zone is the most granular level of specification that you can make for certain services, such as Amazon EC2. We recommend replicating across availability zones for resiliency. You are responsible for selecting the availability zones where your systems will reside. Systems can span multiple availability zones. You should design your systems to survive temporary or prolonged failure of an availability zone if a disaster occurs. Distributing applications across multiple availability zones enables them to remain resilient in most failure situations, including natural disasters or system failures. AWS Local Zones are a type of AWS infrastructure deployment that features low latency. Each AWS local zone is an extension of an AWS region. They place select AWS services closer to large population, industry, and IT centers where no AWS region exists today. AWS local zones are managed and supported by AWS and are connected to an AWS region with a secure, high bandwidth connection. AWS local zones are designed to provide the elasticity, scalability, and security benefits of the cloud to your end users. For example, you can scale up or scale down, and you pay only for the resources that you use. You can also build, deploy, and run latency-sensitive applications in an AWS local zone that's close to local end users and resources. This feature provides some additional benefits. First, you can use a consistent set of AWS services. Also, AWS local zones are designed to deliver single-digit millisecond latency. They work well for various use cases, such as creating media and entertainment content, real-time gaming, running reservoir simulations, automating electronic design, and machine learning. AWS local zones provide compute, storage, database, and other select services to local end users, such as Amazon EC2, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Amazon Elastic Block Store, Amazon FSx, and Elastic Load Balancing. The Los Angeles AWS local zone is generally available by invitation today, and you can expect more local zones to come. Amazon operates state-of-the-art, highly available data centers. They are the foundation for the AWS infrastructure. You don't need to specify a data center for the deployment of resources. However, a data center is the location where the actual data resides. Though they're rare, failures that affect the availability of instances in the same location can occur. If you host all your instances in a single location that's affected by a failure, none of your instances will be available. If this isn't acceptable, you can create redundant copies in other locations. All data centers are online and serving customers. If there's a failure, automated processes move customer data traffic away from the affected area. Core applications are deployed in an N+1 configuration. So if there's a data center failure, there's sufficient capacity to load balance traffic to the remaining sites. AWS uses custom network equipment sourced from multiple original device manufacturers, which are also known as ODMs. ODMs design and manufacture products based on specifications from a second company. The second company then rebrands the products for sale. This is important because it eliminates dependence on a single ODM. To deliver content to end users with lower latency, CloudFront uses a global network that includes over 200 points of presence that include edge locations and regional edge caches. Edge locations are located in North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, the Middle East, Africa, and China. Edge locations support AWS services like Amazon Route 53 and CloudFront. CloudFront uses regional edge caches by default. They're used when you have content that isn't accessed frequently enough to remain in an edge location. Regional edge caches absorb this content and provide an alternative to fetching the content from the origin server. The key takeaways for this section of the module include the AWS global infrastructure consists of regions and availability zones. Your choice of a region is typically based on compliance requirements or to reduce latency. Each availability zone is physically separate from other availability zones and has redundant power, networking, and connectivity. And finally, edge locations and regional edge caches improve performance by caching content closer to users. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.